We are in Lexington, Kentucky tonight as a pair of sides below the playoff cut line desperately look to rectify rocky runs of form. It's Lexington SC back at home at Toyota Stadium in Georgetown, hosting a Richmond Kickers squad looking for a massive victory on the road. It's presented by UK Healthcare. We say hello and welcome. Sam Goldfarb here, excited to bring you all the action as you get your look at the USL League One table, and both teams below the top 8, the playoff cut line. Lexington desperate for points. They've not won a league match since mid-March. They could use a massive win at home. Meanwhile, Richmond Kickers 6 points above them, but just 1 point above them in the standings. So a lot on the line in this 6-pointer this evening. Well, for Lexington, we have mentioned the recent struggles, and despite all of the high expectations in preseason, they have not quite hit top form yet. Winless in their last 8 league matches. The last victory coming in against Chattanooga on March 15th. It has been a brutal stretch for Darren Powell's side, desperate to get a victory here tonight as they look to change the approach. And you look at the holistic picture of the season. This is a team that bought a ton of top-tier attacking talents from across the globe and unfortunately just haven't translated that to goals on the pitch. Just 10 goals, which is last in the league, and their XG is lower than that. So major struggles going forward. Things at the back have been brutal as well, and a side that is just starting to get fully healthy is hoping those numbers will start to right themselves in the coming weeks. Well, for Richmond, it hasn't been much better on the form front. 1 win in their last 7 matches, and since their thrilling Henny Derby victory over Forward Madison on July 3rd, it has been downhill sledding. Back-to-back losses for this Kickers side that has just gotten Emiliano Terzaghi back. He has been their talisman, but they've been outscored 5-1 in the last 2 games. So he'll be hoping that he can produce a little more going forward and get some help from his defense as well. And when you take a look at Richmond's 1-2 punch, we've mentioned Terzaghi, he's the goal scorer, but in his absence, a pair of top-tier creative pieces have stepped up. We know what Neil Vinyals can do. He leads the league in chances created. But then you flip the page to Adrian Billhart, the new addition who hit the ground running in his first 5 games. He's continued to produce goals and assists. He's a fan favorite and a Darren Sawatsky favorite in Richmond. Well, we are just about ready to get things underway here from Lexington. Who will kickstart their playoff push tonight? Lineups and kickoff next between Lexington and Richmond.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up
Keep the rhythm going.
or get up.
Perfect.
Who's not a runner now?
You don't have to be an elite athlete to be treated like one. UK Healthcare, orthopedic surgery, and sports medicine. The power of advanced medicine.
We welcome you back to Georgetown, Kentucky, as we take our look at the Lexington SC 11. Some major changes. They're back in a 5-2-3. Nico Brown is slotting in as the left wingback. Also up front, the danger man, Ates Dio, 4 goals and 3 assists in all competitions. He's the headliner with Cam Lancaster on the bench once again. A team that is slowly getting back up to full strength after an injury epidemic plagued them in the early stages of the season. Then we pivot to Richmond. They've only made one change, but they've completely altered their formation. You see now a 4-back after playing a 3-4-3 last weekend. Emiliano Terzaghi once again back up front. 2 goals in his last 2 league matches. Then you pivot backwards. Simon Fitch, one of the top chance creators in USL League One, tied for 7th in that category. Also Pablo Jara back between the sticks after Ryan Cello made a start in the Jägermeister Cup defeat against Greenville last Saturday. So that's what Darren Sawatsky presents in this pivotal clash against Lexington here tonight. A lot of emphasis from him about being pragmatic if you're a Richmond supporter, a team that has leaked a lot of goals at the back. He says they're going to be a lot more cautious about when they attack, not overstraining themselves, and that lineup pretty much reflects that. There is more of a desire to be defensively sound tonight to ensure they get something from this match. Well, for Darren Powell's side, it is about securing a first victory in league play since mid-March. On the other side, for Darren Sawatsky's bunch, so much on the line, a potential return to the top 8 in the offing if all breaks right. We are underway from Georgetown, Lexington and Richmond in a pivotal bottom half 6-pointer tonight. We welcome you into beautiful Georgetown, Kentucky, just 20 minutes outside downtown Lexington. Sam Goldfarb here, excited to bring you all of the action tonight as these two teams lock horns for the first time this season. It's a rare first meeting of the year between League One outfits, but here we are. Here is the first touch for Terzaghi. They are so glad to have him back in Richmond. Brown. They pick out Yannick Yankum, who has ingrained himself back in the 11 of late. This is Nico Brown slicing into the area, and it's an awkward clearance which results in the match's first corner. Positive signs early if you're a Lexington supporter. Will be Ates Diouf who makes his way over. Abel Caputo in the immediate vicinity. A first corner of the night for Lexington. This corner kick presented by UK Healthcare. It's towards the back stick, right into that corridor of uncertainty, and the bicycle kick from Yankum at least drew Jara's attention, but not much otherwise. Well, speaking of men, Lexington is glad to have back. This is one of them, Yannick Yankum. A bit of quality here, an audacious attempt. Didn't quite have the ferocity necessary to properly challenge Jara. A former Maltese Premier League regular who has played in some of the top competitions in Europe, the Europa Conference League, which was newly introduced a couple years back. Played in some qualifiers and scored multiple years in a row for his previous club. Sierakowski. James Vaughn clattering that off the face of Jorge Corrales. Early on, action on both ends, and this is not a welcome sight for anyone involved. The elder statesman of Lexington down after this cross to the face. Still receiving attention from the physios. Corrales, a 33-year-old with so much experience in the American game. He's made 50 appearances in the MLS. And donning the captain's armband, seems to be content to continue as he heads off the pitch on his own power. There's the throw to Sierakowski. It's across that, flashes across the face. Here's Schenfeld's follow-up delivery. And from one corner to the other, it's Richmond's first of the night. Set pieces both ways in the opening stages of this one.
Richmond corner number 5, Maxi Schenfeld.
Maxi Schenfeld, the Chilean left back to take. And good to see Jorge Corrales is good to continue. Here's Schenfeld's in swinger. It's towards the near post, and we will run it right back from the near side flag. Well, here is USL League One's all-time leading goal scorer, Emiliano Terzaghi, returning after a hand injury, kept him out for nearly 9 months, has scored in his last 2 league appearances. He is the man to watch for Richmond tonight. It comes to him at the near post, and it drew him all night in action. Already making his impact felt. Early on, chances both ways. And if the opening 5 minutes are any indication, this should be a fun one from Lexington. Talking to Darren Powell, all year he has emphasized their struggles have been rooted in their issues in both penalty areas. Said last week more the same, the 1-0 defeat against Forward Madison in the Jägermeister Cup. Had their chances, they were much better in the press and felt they were 1 to 2 passes away from properly troubling Bernd Shipman. But it was a giveaway on the edge of the Madison area that resulted in a 5-star counter and cost them all of the points. Be hoping for better here tonight. Here's the ball forward for Liaudi, and off his line of claim is Jara. We alluded to it off the top. So much preseason hype surrounding this Lexington squad. With all of the purchasing power in the offseason, they've brought in experienced veterans of the USL Championship, MLS, so many top leagues, and there was an expectation they would compete. The time they've taken to gel has been a bit longer than casual fans would have expected, and couple that with an injury epidemic that plagued them in mid to late April. They've been slower to take off than desired. On the other side, that man, Darren Sawatsky, still looking to usher his side out of a rocky rut of form themselves. There's the ball forward, and Fitch will escort out of play without too much trouble. Fans, the summer of soccer continues on CBS. Surging Detroit City FC, led by first-year head coach Danny DiCio, hosts newcomer Rhode Island FC with reigning USL Championship Player of the Year Albert Dikwa on August 3rd at 4 p.m. Eastern on the CBS network. USL, so much heightened exposure around League One and the Championship. A platform for both leagues on both ESPN Plus and the CBS family of networks. And USL Summer of Soccer has been a raging success so far as we are midway through all of those banner events. Cerritos. And it is left loose. It finds its way to Adrian Billhart, who is a young surging dynamite on the far side. Here is Billhart. Ushers it along to Sierakowski. Took an unfortunate deflection. perhaps may have hit his teammate in the process. Promising signs here for Richmond, though. Sierratowski is free for a moment on that far flank. And if it wasn't for a late intervention from his own teammate, Simon Fitch may have had a clear-cut opportunity. Man who's still looking to carve out a role in the 11 for himself. Sierratowski has bounced in and out of the lineup all year. Well, a beautiful night in Georgetown for some footy. It's 85 degrees and sunny on the outskirts of downtown Lexington. The second year of Lexington SC at this lovely venue. Home of Georgetown College, a D2 school in the greater Lexington area. There are plans to try to migrate into downtown Lexington. Club still grappling with those stadium determinations. Here's Yankum. Cerritos. Finds its way to Diouf, who is a dynamite. And charges into the area. He's bundled over right inside the box. And lead official Edson Carvajal waves him off. A penalty appeal authoritatively declined by the lead official. You get another look at this. It's clearly in the box. There does seem to be some contact, but perhaps exaggerated by Mr. Diouf. He still seems angered by the lack of a whistle, though. It must be said, it would have felt like a softer penalty to whistle for. When you take your look at the injury report presented by UK Healthcare, still both sides dealing with the last vestiges of the onslaught they suffered in early April. The big one out for Lexington, Ebenezer Akon, who started frequently for this Lexington team in the early stages of the summer. Also, their backup keeper, Austin Causey, is out. He has been out for the overwhelming portion of this season. So much undue pressure on a Mel Knight as a result. For Richmond, a few more notables. The big one, Tony Pineda, out once again. He has been dealing with so many lingering issues. In addition, Zaka Moran, a regular center mid, is out tonight. That's why you see Chandler O'Dwyer being deployed more in the heart of midfield. There's another man in that center midfield convoy in James Vaughn, who has bounced all over the shop of late. Played outside center back last week. For Richmond, we've alluded to it, stop-start in many respects, both on the results and injury front. And when you take a deeper dive around the really feeling around the club after that heroic Henny Derby victory in early July, there was so much optimism, and he felt it could be a turning point. But after that, back-to-back defeats, there is sentiment around the fan base that all of the positive momentum they could have possibly gained from that result has been more than neutralized. And the 2-0 defeat last week against Greenville in the Jägermeister Cup was a microcosm of that. So many performances this year for Richmond where they've had opportunities to jump into the lead that they've squandered, and they've paid the price in the end. It was more of the same last week against Greenville. See if they can right the ship tonight. Here's Vinyals. Sierrakowski. An involved man early. Stabbed away, only as far as Vaughn. When you talk to Darren Sawatsky as well about the last few weeks, he's been very blunt all season. I said, we've created chances and we have not been clinical enough. He feels like their XG numbers have been through the roof. And with the return of Emiliano Terzaghi, they've converted a little more frequently. But he's also said that they can't solely rely on Terzaghi to produce the goals. Remember, he was out for 9 months. He can't be our only option going forward. And that's why we mentioned Vinyals and Bilhart off the top, two players who are crucial in their buildup. And also Chandler O'Dwyer tonight, a man with 4 goals in league play, someone who's been up and down all year. He is a key piece for them tonight as well. You figure if there are goals that fly into the back of the net, that man will be at the center of everything, though. Here's the long ball forward towards Bilhart. He's through on goal. Flag stays down, and an excellent recovery in the end by Christian Liu Young. Flashing that championship pedigree. Well, for a moment, it looked like the pacey Bilhart was in. This is expert recovery from a wingback in Liu Young, who just wins the shoving match in the area without committing any egregious violations and boots it clear. Quarter of an hour down here from Georgetown, Kentucky. Sam Goldfarb here, excited to bring you all of the action tonight. It has been an intriguing opening 15 minutes. Richmond has had their half chances. Lexington has very much adopted the role as counter-aggressor more than anything. There have been moments where the hearts have been in their throats defensively, but no proper tests for a Mal Knight just yet. Got to wonder how both sides approach this as the time wears on. We mentioned the penchant for pragmatism coming from Darren Sawatsky in our pre-match call. It is a road match. They know Lexington is desperate. They have fielded a side they feel is best suited to secure results. And in so many past matches, they've overexerted themselves chasing opening goals, and it has cost them. So tonight, there will be an emphasis on more balanced play. Hence the return of the likes of Guy Franca and Pablo Jara, and Griffin Garnett, who came off a rocky performance last week, dropped to the bench. For Lexington, it's a side that you feel would fare best in a more open affair, but we showed you those numbers in XG and otherwise. Hasn't quite reflected, you know, the initial gut instinct you would have when looking at all of the sheer talent in the squad. But you look at the lineup tonight, you're playing Nico Brown at wingback. Caution to the wind in many respects. In terms of the lineup from Darren Powell. Here is the officiating crew. Edison Carvajal, our lead official. Marcus Moss, Promise Adebayo Ige. They're his assistants, and Vitali Furmanchuk, the 4th official tonight. Free kick here for Lexington. It's bashed in by Corrales. And LSC will settle for a throw for the time being. Corrales. He loses out to Neil Vinyals. But one back by Youngcomb. Official letting a lot slide in the early stages, setting the tone for perhaps a more physical battle than we may have expected. Corrales Yankum. Progressive ball to the feet of Corrales. Nice extended bout of possession as Liaudi coming deeper to claim now. You just look at Richmond, far more organization out of possession. So many numbers behind the ball. Brown, some trickery on the near side. Comes loose to Terzaghi. Vinyals, top chance creator in all of USL League One. A maestro on the ball to say the least. You see Vinyals here, so much trickery. The ball almost magnetized to his foot and eventually drawing the whistle on Diouf. This is someone who specializes in creating chances for Richmond, has been towards the top of the league in chances created in his 3 years with the club. And also a free kick specialist as well. He, in many respects, is their engine. And here he is again. The Spaniard Vinyals. Schenfeldt. He links well with Vinyals. Billhart into the box now for Richmond. Trying to find a way to unlock this sturdy back five. Liaudi may have been shoved in that interchange with Franca. Well, we figured this would be a physical game based on what the referee was letting slide. That he will definitely whistle. Just a shove in the back from Guy Franca. And perhaps fortunate not to be shown a card there, but consistent with the way Edson Carvajal has officiated this affair. Fans, tune in ESPN2 for a USL Summer of Soccer showdown as last season's top two side from the East and West face off in an inter-conference clash, with perennial powerhouse Sacramento Republic FC hosting Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC Saturday, August 3rd at 11 p.m. Eastern. Both on the ESPN networks and CBS Sports. There's the ball forward, a low cross. Stabbed away only as far as Jorge Corrales. Midway through this opening half of play, a chess match between Darren Powell and Darren Sawatsky's squads. So much cautiousness out of possession by both teams, and given the stakes, you would expect it. If and when that first goal flies in, you'd feel the match would open up. Diouf, bundled over by Franca, and an appetizing free kick positioning as Richmond's number 14 is booked. Progressive play here. Franca drops the shoulder, may have caught him with the studs as well. Good enough to enter his name in the book, the first man on either side on the referee's bad side tonight. An experienced addition this offseason for Richmond and Guy Franca in his mid-20s. So Corrales and Diouf standing over this. It would be a bit far to uncork one, you must say. Just waiting, the referee signal. There it is. Diouf has a hit, and he rockets it off the crossbar. Not a bad effort in any respect. And Lexington's talisman nearly scoring a scorcher. It has amazing dip to this. It just doesn't dip in time, and ultimately clattering off the top of the bar. But it had Pablo Jara at least looking. First proper chance of the match for Lexington tonight. Well, he has been the headliner since joining Lexington last season from San Antonio FC. 15 goals, 12 of which were scored in the final 15 games of last year. He caught fire in the final 3 to 4 months. This season, sputtered a bit more out of the gates, but beginning to pick up the goal-scoring slack, and once they get Cam Lancaster ingrained back in the 11, you'd figure they would begin to unlock top form going forward. There's just too much talent on the front line for Lexington not to figure this out at some point. And Darren Powell is an expert tactician, someone who has built winners in the Inter Miami second team ranks and otherwise. It's just a question of if and when Lexington has the personnel and the time for everything to click. Lou Young. Mendez looking long for Abel Caputo. Cleared only as far as Modesto Mendez. One of many legitimate purchases from the USL Championship ranks and beyond. Caputo picks out Liati. Has support as well. This is Diouf. Throwing into this match rapidly. And still Diouf uncorks one, but doesn't do much more than that. Still involved in the build-up and making a menace of himself around the final third. It's a good link-up. Clever between himself and Cerritos, beginning to get on the same wavelength. Doesn't have a lot of time to unleash this, though, and Jara a mere pedestrian in that exchange. Promising moments for Lexington. Lou Young. And right into the gloves of Pablo Jara. Well, after Akira Fitzgerald departed this offseason and made the move into coaching with this Richmond staff, Pablo Jara was the next veteran tipped to lead things between the sticks, and he has been the main starter for large shares of this year. Someone who has struggled a bit, a save rate that is just a touch above 50%, and has been through his ups and downs. It's been an open goalkeeping battle between himself and the younger Ryan Cello. Someone with so much pedigree, was a mainstay with Tormenta for 5 seasons and his second all-time in the league history in saves, behind Akira Fitzgerald, mind you. He's been a standout force between the sticks in this league for quite some time. There's an adventurous ball towards Liu Young, one that has a bit too much steam on it. And when talking to Darren Sawatsky about the goalkeeping situation, he's been open and has said, look, we're giving both guys a chance, but when you look at the numbers, Pablo Jara has been between the sticks for virtually all of our wins this season. And while maybe the stats don't indicate it on a match-to-match basis, he has played a crucial role in some of those victories. And here tonight, when pragmatism and getting a result is the emphasis, that has been the choice. Here's Fitch on the underlap in space, and just narrowly missing that top left corner. A brilliant run, nearly rewarded with his first of the season. Well, for one, a terrific distribution and a great ball here from Sierakowski, which finds Fitch and just didn't quite have the time and window to escort that one cleanly onto his left. And still nearly found the top left corner. And is the danger the right back can provide. Well, there's a hydration break on the pitch here from Toyota Stadium. Gives us a chance to look around the league, and the latest team of the week from match week 14. How about Ropapa Mensa? Brace against this very Richmond Kickers side. In mid-July, Emiliano Terzaghi also scoring in that Richmond-Chattanooga game on July 13th. He is up front as well. He's our only representative from this match outside of Ates Diouf, who also scored the opener in that defeat against Tormenta on July 13th. You look further throughout the squad, Austin Pack beginning to hit top form for Charlotte Independence. And how about the Omaha representation? Luca Mastrantonio and Pedro Dolabella, two of the standout forces in the league this year, both included in the side from match week 14. Mike Jeffries, the coach of the week, as Charlotte begins to hit its stride as a whole. Well, that is your look around USL League One. We are in match week 15 and kicking off one of the busiest nights in USL League One history. All 12 clubs in action tonight. This is part of our first window of matches in the first meeting of the year between Richmond Kickers and Lexington Sporting Club. You look at the history, it is all even. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw for every team. The last meeting, a 1-0 victory on this very ground in late August by Lexington. And that man, Ates Diouf, scoring the 83rd minute winner in that exchange. He hopes to play hero again tonight for a Lexington team that, as we mentioned off the top, has not won a league match in 4 months to this point. It was a 1-0 victory over Chattanooga Red Wolves on March 15th, the last time Lexington found themselves in the win column in league play. They have obviously won Jägermeister Cup games in that span. We are just about set to resume action from Toyota Stadium as the business end of proceedings in this first half beckons. A chess match between the two Darrens leading their respective sides. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Always timed brilliantly by our production crew. A perfect shot of that ball. We are just around the 35-minute threshold. Still, both teams looking to carve out a glaring opportunity. Simon Fitch, the most eyebrow-raising of the first half to date, had a decent look at it and narrowly missing the top left. Otherwise, a cagey affair, and understandably so, given both teams' recent run of results. You'd figure in a cagey affair that man would certainly be tipped to play a role. Maxi Schenveld is one of the more dynamic left backs in this league and someone who is not afraid to play in tight windows. Has the freedom to roam forward as well. Fullbacks playing such a crucial role in this Richmond system. In many ways, he's loved and admired by the River City Red Army, the Richmond supporters group, for his lack of fear and tentativeness. He is willing to try to unlock opposing teams by almost any means necessary. It also doesn't hurt that he is an all-action defender at that. Brown. Final 10 minutes of this opening 45. Sam Goldfarb here from Toyota Stadium. A night in the mid-80s in the horse capital of the world is what the city is known as. Fitting there's a horse on the Lexington crest. Vinyals slowly growing into this match. Terzaghi bashes this towards Fitch on the near side. Bilhart was looking for Terzaghi, and the ball played a matter of inches beyond him. Pretty much a spectator sport for a Mal night to date. Diouf has a runner in Liati. Now searching for support. Switches the play effectively to Yankum. Corrales. Is there a late twist to the tail before intermission? Or are we set for a knock him out, drag it out fight here in Lexington tonight? Cerritos. That's clever. And still Alexis Cerritos. First time ball from Brown. Stabbed away to the feet of Vinyals. Sierakowski. It has become an aggressive affair. Well, there is your look at Darren Sawatsky. Man in his 5th season at the helm of this Richmond Kickers club. So much experience in the USL pyramid. He's named the 8th coach in history at the end of the 2019 season. Previously coached with FC Tucson for a stint before that. And now tasked with leading the longest continued American soccer club in history. Here's Diouf, through on goal, and Jara's off his line to get a pair of paws to it. Well, Diouf once again appealing half-heartedly for a penalty. It is an appeal that won't be granted. Good instincts by Jara to just rush off the goal line for that. Lexington just taking control of the run of play these last 15 minutes or so after Richmond really enjoyed a bright start. Match with ebbs and flows thus far. Approaching the final 5 minutes of the initial 45. Not too many stoppages of note either outside of the hydration break. Cerritos. He switches the play to Lou Young. Corrales. Brown. Yankum. There's the long throw to Nico Brown. And Yankum. Decent looking cross to the back stick, and it's bashed in! Azad Liati opening the scoring for Lexington. The former Huntsville man breaking the deadlock here in Georgetown. And what a finish this was. A terrific ball from Yankum. Liati's got a man holding him all over the place. Still manages to charge his way free from Barnathan, and an acrobatic finish for his first goal since mid-April. A much-needed strike as the Railbirds erupt in full celebration. Lexington 1, Richmond 0. Well, a welcome sight if you're a Lexington fan for a number of reasons. Azad Liati, someone who was kept out for nearly 2 months with a lower extremity injury. He was removed from the Jägermeister Cup opener against Madison. He's just begun to work his way back into the side and marks one of his first starts since returning in late June with his first goal since mid-April. And how about this? Another man who missed 2 months, Yannick Yankum, the man who supplied it. So a pair of recent returnees making the difference for Lexington here tonight. Liati in the 41st minute is what separates these two squads. And that is one of the new signings. Both Darren Powell and all of the Lexington fans tipped to make a difference. Liati played for Huntsville City in MLS Next Pro last year. Scored 12 goals in 22 appearances, one of the top scorers in MLS Next Pro in 2023. And someone who has also played in both League One at a high level, as well as the DC United Youth ranks with Loudoun in the USL Championship. Now with Lexington, his second league goal of the year at a pretty crucial time when Darren Powell's squad was just beginning to establish control. Azad Liati, a great sight if you're a Lexington fan. Cerritos. Hosts with the wind in their sails at the moment, and Cerritos is clipped by Vaughn, who will be the second man to enter the referee's book. A pair of kickers on the caution list. Well, you get your another look at this. Good run from Cerritos. He outwits Vaughn here. And yes, there was contact, certainly to the ankle. Likely seemed exaggerated to some degree, just given what we watched, but Vaughn is the second man in the book nonetheless. And Cerritos will return to his feet. Well, he's been a lively presence so far. Created a number of opportunities, is linked well with his wing counterparts. Was a menace at Central Valley as well. When he hits top gear, there are very few that can stop him. will set up Lexington with decent free kick positioning here in terms of delivery. And Youth took it too quickly for Edison Carvajal's liking. Well, if you're just joining us, Azad Liadi in the 41st minute with an acrobatic finish, opening the scoring just moments ago here from Georgetown, Kentucky. A much-needed goal for a Lexington side that entered the night joint last in USL League One with 10 tallies. They've got an advantage on the stroke of halftime as they push on and look for more. 5 minutes of added time, according to the fourth official. It's taken on the ground to Cerritos. He's boxed in along the near side. Vinyals overzealously won back by Yankum. We mentioned the return of Azad Liadi moments ago, but Yannick Yankum, the man who supplied it, also recently back in the 11. Someone who oozes quality. Now making his 6th league start tonight, and good to see him making an impact once again as well. His first goal contribution since returning to the side. And fittingly enough, the last time Lexington won a league match, that man scored the winner. Just his 3rd start back in the 11 since missing over 2 months with a mix of injury and international duty with the Maltese national team. And his return part of the return to full personnel lately for Lexington. It really appears Lancaster's long-awaited stint back in the 11 is what separates this Lexington side from a full-strength 11. Yankum is hoofed clear, only as far as Emel Knight, who, outside of the one Simon Fitch chance, has enjoyed a relatively calm opening 45 minutes. Lou Young. Adventurous ball towards the goal scorer Liadi. It's read well by Franca. Nearly won back by the front man. Final 2 minutes I should say, of added time. Richmond desperately looking to enter intermission on level plaguing. Haven't shown many signs of doing so since the midway stages of the first half. Well, that man will certainly be the happier of the two managers at halftime, assuming this scoreline holds. His team has been on the front foot for large spurts of this match, and they have a goal to show for it as a result. And while they have had their lapses at the back, they've since taken the sting out of things, controlled it from the heart of their back 5, and have grabbed the elusive opener. all in all, you'd have to figure it's a first half that rates at least 9 out of 10 on his scale. Yankum. Is there a final capper to this opening 45? Here's Cerritos. Slithering ahead and wins his side a late set piece. Just what the doctor ordered for Lexington on the stroke of intermission. Well, Richmond starting to fade here after a promising start. You see Cerritos take on about 3 defenders at once. Vaughn is the man that ultimately dragged him down. And as we hit the 5th minute of added time, there is potential for a late doubler for Lexington. It is Yankum, Liati, and Diouf in the immediate vicinity. And Diouf has shown no shyness about uncorking efforts from here. Been the trademark of his first half in many respects. We are now beyond the added 5 minutes. Diouf takes and clatters it right into the 5-man wall. It comes clear to Yankum. Excellent move, whipped into the area. Now Liu Young. Time for 1 or 2 final services. Caputo's ball. And far too much altitude into the gloves of Jara. And that is where our first half comes to a close. An opening 45 in which Lexington slowly took control of proceedings, and that man, Azad Liati, making the difference with his 41st minute acrobatic strike. Lexington an advantage after the opening 45. A team desperate for its first win since mid-March. They are halfway there here in Georgetown. Well, that is where we stand after 45 minutes. Lexington, a slightly surprising 1-0 lead over Richmond. They have themselves in the driver's seat at halftime here on ESPN+. We will step aside when we come back a look around USL League One on ESPN+.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up
Keep the rhythm going.
or get up?
Perfect.
Who's not a runner now?
Good, we're gonna take it
You
up.
don't have to be an elite athlete to be treated like one. UK Healthcare, Orthopedic Surgery, and Sports Medicine. The power of advanced medicine.
We are back here from Lexington, where the Railbirds will be thrilled with the opening 45 minutes they just witnessed. A 1-0 advantage, courtesy of Azad Liati in the 41st minute, making the difference in this crucial bottom half clash in USL League One. Well, it has been a busy stretch in the summer of soccer in the USL, and week 14 of USL League One no different as we jump into the highlights from the last week of action in the league.
Into training every day. You're doing the same old eventually. As this one's given away and it's a goal!
Well, that was the mistake Rick Wright was talking about. Unfortunately, it was for Oliver Harald.
Kunga slips by one defender. Lagos Kunga couldn't get through Rankenberg.
He looked up and was waiting for help at the back post, but it wasn't there in time, so just try and shoot.
Youth. I said Youth could be away here. It's a bad mistake at the back from Tormenta right before halftime. I'd say Youth shuffling on his right and firing into the back of the net. The man who created the chance dispatches it. Lexington go ahead shortly before the interval. Cross to the front post. Fonseca cuts it back. And the equalizer from Sebastian Vivas. Off the bench, onto the score sheet, and Tormenta are level. Jackson Corey sticking with it. Second ball played in and headed in. Pedro Fonseca has been sniffing around goal all night long and gets the go-ahead header in the 87th minute.
He gets disrupted by King, but Calixto tries to cross anyways. Kelly leaves it, shoots, scores! Another stoppage time stunner! Knoxville take the advantage in the 94th! Castro, a man up, a goal up, and that's the second goal for Rudy Castro, the first for Knoxville, and they rip the 3 points away from the Hailstorm.
Statistically, the worst defense in the league. They've conceded 22 goals this season. On goal over the top. Marsh is there. Marsh with the header. It's in. Inside 40 seconds. Chattanooga lead. Mensah on the turn. On a goal. Will Papa Mensah 2 goals in next to no time. Played in behind for Bilhar. He keeps it in play. Ball is loose, and the back heel from Terzaghi, and the lead is cut in half. Chance. A little bit of a surprise that Lukic even went for the free kick. It wasn't too far away. Oh, it's in! Siobhan Marsh seals the victory! Mistake out of the back by Richmond. And Siobhan Marsh seals the deal. Ingo within swing, ball is loose. Obertan, shot from distance, it's deflected and in from Johnson. Keeps it in play. Belmar across goal, deflected on the line. It's a goal, it's been given. And it will go down as an own goal, surely.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
It would take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
We are back from Georgetown, Kentucky at Toyota Stadium, where it's a 1-0 lead after 45 minutes. The home side, the happier of the two squads after that first half. Well, it has been a busy summer of soccer throughout the USL ranks, and in USL Championship especially, a lot of standout events on the cards in the coming weeks. Starting with a pair of Detroit City matches, including a trip to Trinity Health Stadium to take on Hartford Athletic. Brendan Burke's side desperate to get things rolling in the right direction after they haven't quite lived up to the early season expectations. And then you get your clash of teams with exciting stadium projects. Rhode Island, an expansion club. They're building their own new stadium in Pawtucket. They go to one of the hardest places to play in USL Championship at Keyworth Stadium to take on Detroit City. And then as you head down the remainder of the ranks, Lou City is always a banner club, one of the top brands in USL Championship. And you see Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they also travel to Keyworth in a rematch of the playoffs from last year. Sac Republic getting a couple of standout events on ESPN2 and CBS Sports Network, respectively. We mentioned the busy week throughout USL League One. Every club in action tonight. The only active game right now, no score between Greenville and One Knox, a pair of squads above the playoff line, jockeying for positioning. Greenville looking to right the ship. They've been through their wobbles of late. And then you look later on throughout the night, Forward Madison, so hard to beat at Bree Stevens Field. They get a surging Northern Colorado squad. And then how about the nightcap? Central Valley looking to get trending in the right direction at 11 Eastern against Tormenta. Some USL League One after dark. And speaking of South Georgia Tormenta, how about the story surrounding Nick Ikoto? One of the standouts for the last couple of years for the Ibises, making the move, a USL League One record to Burton Albion FC in EFL League One, the third tier of the English football pyramid. He broke the transfer record for USL League One, now gets his opportunity to return to a country in which he spent the bulk of his youth days with AFC Wimbledon and some other key clubs in England, now playing in the third tier of English football. Congrats to Nick, and congrats to Tormenta for developing a top-tier talent. Well, that's all we have for our look around USL League One. When we return, a look at how the opening 45 minutes transpired here from Lexington.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up?
Keep the rhythm going.
Or get up?
Perfect.
Who's not a runner now?
Yeah, we're gonna take it
You
out.
don't have to be an elite athlete to be treated like one. UK Healthcare, Orthopedic Surgery, and Sports Medicine. The power of advanced medicine.
Let's take a look at how the opening 45 minutes unfolded here from Toyota Stadium. Early on, a lot of chances for Lexington off set pieces. This audacious bicycle kick from Yannick Yankum at least raised the eyebrows. Then you move later on. Richmond started to take things over in the early portions of the first half. Sierakowski getting into a good position there. And then in the 24th minute, a free kick opportunity. Ates Diouf clattering it off the top of the crossbar. Kind of chances few and far between. This was the biggest one for Richmond, though. A great run from Simon Fitch. Gets through on goal, tries to usher it onto his left, and just unable to pick out that top left corner. From there, Lexington began to take over proceedings. Ates Diouf, a stumbling run into the area, loses his balance, and then this was the breakthrough, the 40th minute. Excellent interplay. The cross comes in from Yankum, and what an acrobatic finish this was from Azad Liadi. Likely fouled in the process. Doesn't matter. A welcome return back into the side, his first goal since mid-April, and that is what separates these two squads after one half of play. Well, we are just about set to get things back underway. You've got to wonder what transpired in the Richmond dressing room, how they will alter things, because they faded in terms of control of that first half and chance creation. The last real opportunity was that Fitch chance. It's an urgent time for Richmond, a side that has won just one of its last 7 in all competitions. This is their opportunity to make a statement and come from behind. For Lexington, they're halfway home to their first league victory in 4 months. We're back underway here from Georgetown. Much hangs in the balance here from Toyota Stadium. We welcome you back in to the outskirts of Lexington, Kentucky. Sam Goldfarb here, bringing you all of the action from wire to wire tonight. A first half in which Lexington grew into the side, began to take control, and got the well-deserved breakthrough. And so much to reevaluate for Darren Sawatsky and his squad in the dressing room. We will see what the response is, especially in this opening quarter of an hour in the second. Vinyals was a brighter presence in the first for Richmond. Here he is. And this is Sierakowski. Taking on Liu Young, low cross, falls for Bill Hart, space to shoot, and finishes. Adrian Billhart with his 5th league goal of the year, and right after the restart, Richmond's level. A 46th minute equalizer from Billhart. And a huge moment out of the dressing room for Richmond. Well, he was the standout man early in the season, has been through his ups and downs since, but has always been an engine on the wing. And this is a poacher's goal. The ball sits free for Bill Hart. Nobody closes in time. Simple placement into the top right corner, and immediately the Lexington lead neutralized. What a finish this is from Bill Hart, unfazed by the oncoming rush of defenders. And Richmond has found the leveler just 50 some odd seconds after the restart. A man who made his venture to Detroit City after excelling at Tormenta for 2 seasons. Didn't quite get an opportunity to break into the side in the championship. Has been terrific. Here's a cross into Diouf. It's an instant reply. Lexington immediately with the response, and they're right back in front just a minute later. And it is that man once again, Ates Diouf, at the center of it all. We didn't even have time to catch our breath, and Lexington's back in front. 2nd league goal of the year, 5th in all competitions for Diouf, and a simple striker's header. Nobody closes in on him. He is unchallenged in the penalty area. And right after conceding the equalizer, Lexington jockeying back in front. Well, welcome back to the action. If you have blinked, you have missed it. Ates Diouf in the 48th, just moments after Bill Hart equalized in the 46th. Diouf, a native of Dakar, Senegal, who broke in to the USL Championship with Austin Bold before making the move to San Antonio. Burst onto the scene with Lexington a season ago. We mentioned how he sputtered out of the gates a bit to begin the league season. But now with 3 goals in his last 6 in all competitions, and the talisman in Lancaster's absence. And he has emerged as a hero for the Lexington faithful. I believe that goal will only further entrench him in Lexington lore. Oh, what a change of emotions it must have been for that man, Darren Powell, on the touchline. Equalizing less than a minute after the restart. And the immediate response pretty much less than a minute after they put the ball back in play. Welcome to USL League One. The heartbeat of American soccer, delivering once again. And we've still got 40 minutes to play. Here's Vinyals. Richmond would have felt they found themselves on a level playing field. Now they're forced to carve their way out of a hole once again. Well, there's the man who opened the scoring, Azad Liati, who's slow to get up after that challenge. This is the last sight you want to see if you're a Lexington fan, just returning recently from that long-term injury. Seems all right to continue, which is a welcome sight. So let's just recap you. Liati opening the scoring in the 40th. Then in the 46th, Bill Hart equalizing. Just 2 minutes later, the finish from Mates Diouf, a striker's header into the bottom left. And that is where we stand as we approach the lion's share of this second half. The horses jockeying in front. Dwyer booked for that challenge. He's now the 3rd Richmond man in the book, all of whom are on the pitch at this current moment. What is the response from this Richmond squad? Must have been so demoralizing. Fortunately for Richmond, if you're looking for positives, it didn't take them much time to claw back. 6 minutes of game action, and frankly, 50 seconds post-restart. But it's a Richmond team that also has not had a lot of possession tonight, so chances have been fewer and further between, and that has to weigh on the minds of many of the players on the pitch right now. Here's Bill Hart, though. It's one back by Diouf. And currently, that has Lexington in line to secure a much-needed 3 points. It's a Richmond side that has never won on this ground. One loss and 1 draw at Toyota Stadium in the short history between these two teams. Plenty of time for change, though. Vinyals, Magistry, and he's fouled in the process. And that will enter a first Lexington man in the referee's bad books. Well, it's been a 5-star start to the second half. 2 goals in the first 10 minutes as Liati is booked. Here was the equalizer in the 46th minute from Adrian Billhart. A quality run here from Sierakowski. Quality ball looking for Terzaghi, who draws 2 defenders. It falls perfectly to Billhart, who uncorks one into the top right. Richmond finally finds themselves level. They've clawed back. Then just 2 minutes later, how about this? Nico Brown streaking down the far side. Diouf unmarked in the area. Furious is Pablo Jara. And there's no stopping that header. That is currently what has Lexington in front. But this match doesn't feel like it'll end 2-1 with the openness of it since the start of the second. Liati was just booked moments ago, mind you, for that challenge. You wonder how many minutes they give him, especially with Lancaster waiting on the bench. The luxury Lexington has at full strength, though. You take off a goal scorer in Liati, and you bring on one of the top goal scorers in USL Championship history. That would be the assumed substitution. You would think Lancaster would get a look in this match regardless. As things stand, Lexington's looked pretty clinical without him on the pitch just now. Caputo committing that transgression. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM 157 and the new SiriusXM app. 55 minutes gone, a 2-1 Lexington advantage as Vignals inserts this free kick. Routinely cleared out for a throw. We've set the stage. So much hangs in the balance tonight for both teams. A Richmond squad that has slumped in the league of late. The Henny Derby hangover has been pretty clear and unfortunate. A Lexington team that has not won a match in league play since mid-March. Both these teams need these 3 points as they look to venture back into playoff contention. Especially Lexington. 3 points here would almost half the deficit between themselves and the actual top 8. Caputo. The Railbirds in full force. The Lexington supporters group has been at top volume tonight. It is a passionate soccer community in Lexington. Both Darren Powell and his predecessor Sam Stockley, now in the front office with the club, have spoken about the untapped potential in the Lexington market for soccer. Lexington SC matches over the course of the past 2 years have been an advertisement for that. And when this team inevitably makes the move closer to downtown Lexington, you'd figure this will be an attraction, especially in the offseason of many other Kentucky sports. Set piece here for Lexington. Yannick Yankum will leave it for Jorge Corrales and company. Corrales and Diouf in the vicinity. Here is Corrales' delivery. It is cleared only as far as Christian Liu Young. No trouble for Jara between the sticks. Lexington's pressing has been relentless. Very difficult for Richmond to gain a foothold tonight. But again, when they're able to play beyond that first line of defense, they've had their moments with Lexington disorganized. There is potential to unlock this back line, no doubt, especially if the wingbacks, get concentrated too far up. Vignals. He would be the man you'd fancy to initiate anything. Bill Hart, the lone Richmond goal scorer tonight. 7th goal in all competitions at that. Terzaghi still looking to find his foothold in this one. Decent cutback, not quite the steam necessary to reach Sierakowski. Well, Amal Knight, the Jamaican international, has dealt with a relatively comfortable evening. So athletic, one of the better shot stoppers in the league, but has been under fire at times for Lexington, a team that often has found itself without possession for large shares of matches. Tonight, Lexington has done a terrific job taking the pressure off him. Chances have been few and far between for the visitors tonight. Vaughn, Terzaghi, comes to Diouf, bashed away by Schenfeld. Mendez. Hearing word about 2 Richmond subs. We will get them to you when they are official. It appears Nathan Ani and Justin Suko are the men tipped to enter the action. They would be like-for-like swaps. Guy Franca and James Vaughn seem to be the 2 that would make way. Still 30 minutes to play, and much hangs in the balance here in Lexington. A Richmond team that could squander an opportunity to charge back into the top 8. A Lexington team that could notch a monumental win as it looks to stage its turnaround at the midway point of this year. Here's Bill Hart. Plays this ahead to Fitch. Good-looking cross towards Sierakowski. And ultimately bashed away for a Richmond throw. Those changes will take place now. It is Ani and Suko in place of Vaughn and Franca, a pair of men on yellow cards. Wise changes from Darren Sawatsky. Suko, a man who is in his 2nd season with Richmond after formerly playing across Henny Derby lines with forward Madison, looking to return to his usual role in the 11 that he occupied a season ago. Meanwhile, Nathan Ani dealt with an injury that kept him out for the bulk of the early stages of this season. He replaces Franca, a man who has been a little more ingrained in the lineup tonight. Meanwhile, here is the notorious goal scorer himself, Cam Lancaster, getting ready to enter the fray whenever the referee beckons him on. 3rd all-time leading goal scorer in USL Championship history, and when talking to Darren Sawatsky of Richmond, he says it's actually mind-boggling that he is in USL League One, given his goal-scoring pedigree, but he has added so much to this league in terms of eyeballs and goal-scoring reputation, so to speak. He still has a lot left in the tank. There is a man down for Lexington, and we're hearing word the sub may change due to injury. This is Yannick Yankum, who's played a crucial role tonight, and that is the last thing you want to see if you're a Lexington fan, given his absences for large spells of this year, and also the quality he brings to the table. It is Yankum, who is slowly returning to his feet. Well, we mentioned the lively start of the 2nd. Let's just take another look at the 2 goals that have really stamped their impact on the plot of the 2nd half. Less than a minute after the restart, here's the cross, comes to Terzaghi, and this is the equalizer. Adrian Bill Hart, right place, right time, great finish, top right corner. We think we're level. We think we're in store for a drag-it-out fight. Lexington, other ideas. On a free header for Ates Diouf, nobody closes him down, and he just tucks it confidently into the bottom left. He's currently in line to be the hero tonight. Lancaster is still waiting to enter. Again, Yankum is a midfielder. He's now being ushered off the pitch, and they're signaling he needs to exit. So we certainly hope he's all right. Has been very solid performance-wise as the physios make it clear he needs to make way. An impactful 60 minutes and change for the Maltese international. So Pierre Mane seems to be the man tipped to replace him. So it is Pierre Mane and Cam Lancaster both getting ready to enter. We'll figure out who in a matter of moments. Lexington temporarily down to 10 men. Here's O'Dwyer. Bill Hart. Simon Fitch. Suko. O'Dwyer. Charging into the area. Takes some contact on the edge of the box. And consistent with his previous calls, Edson Carvajal unmoved. So goal kick as we now await the alterations. And there they are. So first one is Alexis Cerritos. He'll make way for Cam Lancaster. In a change that isn't necessarily like for like, you'd figure maybe Leotti moves wide, because Lancaster far better as a center forward. He'll receive applause in his second app since a brief injury kept him out. And we mentioned Pierre Mane, the VCU product, replacing Yannick Yankum, who exits with injury. Mane, a 26-year-old, funnily enough, a former college teammate of Simon Fitch's at Virginia Commonwealth University, which eagle-eyed fans may know is located in Richmond. So playing against a club in which he used to be located right down the road from. Meanwhile, Lancaster, he needs no introduction. The goals speak for themselves. He's found the back of the net a couple times this year already. 5 times in all competitions, to be precise. Leotti's active in the press. Jara's off his line and unconvincingly dealt with, although a goal kick in circuitous fashion. Lancaster scored some big goals in a short time with Lexington. Pretty much the lone reason they were within striking distance late in the cup set defeat against Vermont Green due to his brace. He also scored the stoppage time winner in the Jägermeister Cup triumph at Chattanooga. It's been a fantastically odd phenomenon. Lexington is right in the thick of the Jägermeister Cup Central Group hunt with 11 points, just 1 point off the lead. And they've won a number of matches in Jaeger Cup play. But league play has been night and day. Just one league win, and Darren Powell says it's really hard to explain because they approach both sets of matches vastly differently. Vastly similarly, I should say. As Diouf is booked for the assertive challenge moments ago. But he said there's no change in how we go into a cup match versus a league match. We want to win every game we play, and we've had inconsistent runs of form. It's just been happen to break across competitional lines as you see the foul once again. Schenfeld gets the late shove and, you know, maybe a harsh yellow, but not an unheard of one. Second Lexington man in the book now. Well, Edson Carvajal is the lead official. Marcus Moss, Promise Adebayo Ige, the assistants. Vitaly Firminchuk, the fourth official. Vignal stands over this set piece. He's a specialist in these. Has decent whip to this, but right into the gloves of Amel Knight. What does the final 20 minutes and change have in store? must-see clash to date. Is there a further wrinkle in the tale? The first half, which was cagey for so long before Liati's opener. Since then, things have opened up in a hurry. There have been chances both ways since Diouf's would-be winner. And here is the current hero for Lexington, Liati. Clattering into Nathan Awney, and no whistle from the official. Bill Hart. Looking at Lexington's shape, it does not seem to have changed. It's still Mendez, Uche, and Corrales in the three-man center back trio. Wingbacks are the same. Lancaster seems to be playing centrally, although a bit deeper than the likes of Liati and Diouf. So we'll see how the shape morphs in the minutes ahead. Figure Lancaster would just be operating as a center forward. Here is Diouf, growing in confidence with each touch of the ball. Schenfelds. And this is Sierakowski. He has been a bright spot for Richmond tonight. Other than, of course, Bill Hart, the lone goal scorer. Richmond is sick of playing for bright spots at this point. There was an emphasis on the need for results. That remains the case for Darren Sawatsky's squad, a team that missed the playoffs last year in slightly surprising fashion after winning the regular season title in 2022. A team that has lost the defensive solidity that characterized that dominant run 2 seasons ago. But so many of the same attacking pieces remain on the roster. O'Dwyer, cross towards the back post, and ultimately headed out of trouble. Young is dealing with worse for wear on that challenge. Just a 50-50 challenge, a clash of heads that Lou Young got the worst of. And he seems all right. Welcome sight for all involved. Vinyals will take this corner for Richmond. An in-swinger at that.
You talked him into it. My God. The other coach is talking into it.
Well, a yellow shown to Darren Powell moments ago. Some sort of appeal drew the ire of the official. And so Lexington's headman walks a tightrope for the remainder of this one. Here's the in-swinger. It's punched away by Knight. Only as far as Schenfelds. And a loose touch from Vinyals. A rare one given his performance tonight. Schenfelds. Flashing cross. It was dangerous. And it comes to Bill Hart. Chance still not lost just yet for Richmond. Fitch on the underlap. cross towards the back post. Sierakowski, and it flashed across Terzagi's dome. Didn't do much more than that, though. Decent chance here for Richmond. Great cross here from Fitch. And Sierakowski does a good job to get ahead to it, but Terzaghi doesn't have the time to steer it on target. Chance amounts to nothing ultimately. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete TV listings. Final quarter of an hour here from Lexington, Kentucky. Georgetown, Kentucky to be precise. A 2-1 advantage courtesy of Ates Diouf's rapid reply in the 48th minute, which is what separates these two sides. In the first meeting between these two clubs here in 2024. A hydration break on the pitch as we take a breather here in the second half. And Darren Sawatsky has an opportunity to regroup his side as they desperately push on for an equalizer that feels urgently needed in the greater scope of its recent run of form. We're going to take a quick look at the latest messaging out of the USL League office.
I don't know if they know it, but we have a deep hatred for Sacramento.
And this game is going to come to an end in a very chippy way.
So we always show out in Sacramento. A lot of it's from spite.
We love playing that rivalry.
I just make sure that my voice is good to go because I probably only got a half to use it because it's going to be gone.
We don't stop chanting. We don't stop drumming.
Yelling and screaming and chanting.
And we feel it's our responsibility to give the guys the energy.
There's just something about Oakland, and you don't get it anywhere else.
Well, that's a first look at the web series, The Experience, which is chronicling the fan experience throughout the USL. It is on the USL Soccer YouTube channel, so for those interested, feel free to check that out. A great source of content from the league and its fans. Well, we are in the final 15 minutes of regular time here from Georgetown, Kentucky, where the homestanding Lexington Sporting Club side holds a 2-1 lead over a Richmond team that is looking to avoid being doomed to 3 consecutive defeats following their Henny Derby thrilling victory over Forward Madison on July 3rd. It has been night and day between the performance that handed Madison its first league loss and the 3 we've seen since. In fact, you look at the numbers, they have now been outscored a total of 7-2 in the last 2 matches and change counting this one. Rocky sledding since, and you look at the fixtures ahead, so many postseason 6-pointers on the cards for Richmond. Following this one, they have to take on Northern Colorado in Windsor, and then they play Tormenta at home before the fixture nobody would envy at Greenville in mid-August. So the easiest stretch of the schedule, and these are the matches you have to secure points in if you hope to crack the playoffs. A Richmond team that, as we mentioned, so hungry for a return to postseason play after missing it a season ago. Here's the cross from Sierakowski. Is charged away towards the feet of Awney. There's no white shirt to greet that. If you're just joining us, for starters, thank you for spending time on your busy weekend on the busiest USL League One day of the year. It has been a thriller. AZ Leotti opening the scoring in the 40th. Then less than a minute after the restart, we saw Adrian Bilhart equalize for Richmond, their most glaring opportunity of the match. 2 minutes later, Ates Diouf breaking the deadlock, and about 30 seconds after the game restarted, Lancaster, a crack! Had the goalkeeper off his line, but didn't quite have the accuracy required. But this has been a fun one. And while it hasn't quite been end-to-end since Diouf's tally, it has still presented plenty of intrigue in a match where there are major stakes at play. we are far from wrapped up here from Georgetown. Terzaghi coming much deeper to claim. They are struggling to incorporate him frequently in this match. Many moments has found himself on an island tonight. Darren Powell, the former Inter Miami man who led the second team in Next Pro the last couple years. He's coached in all sorts of top ranks throughout American football. Cross from Bill Hart this time. It came briefly to Sierakowski and stabbed out of danger in the end. That is the lone goal scorer tonight for Richmond. Adrian Billhart, the leading goal scorer in all competitions for kickers this season. Here's the cross towards the back stick. A flick on from Sierakowski. It falls for Suko. Just a little too much force behind that. Decent effort here on the half volley. Justin Suko has a crack. Puts it through the football uprights instead of the footy net. Lancaster is the man fouled there. What a get for Darren Powell this offseason. A coup in the transfer market, if you will. Someone who, even in a down year last season with Lou City, still found the back of the net 9 times and was a crucial goal-scoring piece of their playoff run, which ended in the Eastern Conference Finals. Ball forward to Liati, lays it off for Lancaster, who nearly ran onto it. Lancaster is a menace. He's one of the few players to crack 20 goals in multiple seasons in the USL Championship. And this year, despite ups and downs and injury concerns, is still one of the top scoring outlets on this Lexington squad. Here is Simon Fitch, who will win his side a throw. Vinyals comes to Billhart. Dwyer. Vinyals slithering ahead. Barnathan. Schenfeld. Decent looking cross that. Laid off by Suko, and Billhart had a crack. It will go out for a Richmond corner. It'll be a few changes coming soon. Tate Robertson and Isaac Cano stand there for Lexington. Here is the in-swinger. He's dealt with by Liati. Came to Vinyals, still loose in the box. And not properly dealt with just yet by Lexington. Finally cleared only as far as what appears to be Schenfeld. Well, buckle up. It'll be an onslaught these next 10 minutes. Sierakowski. Vinyals. Looking for space to cross. Schenfeld. Cross on the left. Cleared only as far as Vinyals. Schenfeld again. This cross more appetizing. It came to O'Dwyer. Half-hearted appeals for handball immediately waved away. Richmond has fully put pedal to the metal as they chase an equalizer. Terzaghi. O'Dwyer. He has a penchant for heroic goals. He was the man that scored the late winner in the Henny Derby. 101 minutes after the opening whistle. Fitch. Low driver, Vinyals. Comes to Billhart. He's making a menace of himself momentarily. Now Brown in space. Has Liati with him. Nico Brown turns on the afterburners, cuts it across, and Jara unable to catch. It goes out for a Lexington corner. Well, Jara would have been hoping to do better with this. Tried to catch, instead only able to get a pair of palms to it. And it goes out for a Lexington set piece, which is the last thing you want to see when chasing a match. Will be Corrales who rushes over to take. We rapidly approach the final 5 minutes of normal time as we get this UK Healthcare corner kick, the first of the second half for Lexington.
Number 12, Jorge Corrales.
Corrales delivering to the back post. Shoving match between Awney and Lancaster, and much ado about nothing along the far side touchline. So here are the changes getting set to enter. It is Tate Robertson replacing Ates Diouf, who will exit to a well-deserved applause. Man who was a regular starter for Lexington a season ago. Meanwhile, Isaac Cano getting set to enter as well. Robertson is a menace. They can play him at fullback. They can play him on the flanks. It appears he will play at right wing tonight in a like-for-like swap with the man currently in line to be Lexington's hero. Meanwhile, on the other side, one change, Sierakowski replaced by Landon Johnson. The 17-year-old out of Chesterfield, Virginia, making his 4th appearance of the year.
And also entering the lineup for your Lexington Sporting Club, number 7, Isaac Cano.
Meanwhile, here is Cano. He will replace Christian Liu Young in a slightly more unorthodox change. So he may find himself at fullback, or wingback I should say, unless Lexington has pivoted to a 4-pack. It seems he's being deployed further upfield though. So it seems Robertson will be parked in that right wingback role, and Cano playing at right wing. So those two should link up. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Right now, still very much hangs on a knife edge tonight. Lexington looking to limp to 3 points after Richmond has charged right back into this. Richmond pushing forward with ferocity. Still the same shape for Lexington. As we mentioned, Tate Robertson, a man who formerly found himself in the lineup as a starting left back and right midfielder on a nightly basis last year. He now is playing as a substitute as the wing back. Meanwhile, Cano, the youngster on loan from Lou City, is a little further forward. Brown dropping the shoulder and has support. Lays it off for Caputo. Lancaster. Player Darren Powell raves about, not just for his on-field ability. Says he's one of the go-to leaders. He's played at the highest level in the Premier League with Tottenham Hotspur. someone who brings so much to the table still. Richmond readying one more change. Bill Hart is the man set to make way. Hearing word Joao Gomiro will replace him. Vinyals. Are there late dramatics before that alteration can take place? Outwitting Cano and winning his side a free kick as the substitute is right into the referee's book on his first major involvement. That places Vinyals in a position well within his range. He and Schenfeld standing over this. I would not be at all shocked if either has a pop. Just a three-man wall for Lexington. Vinyals has produced spectaculars from situations like these in the past. Final minute of normal time. Vinyals has a go! And a full extension stop from Knight. Very well done at his near post. Very good whip to this. Maybe not enough altitude, and it is within the range of Knight, but it required a full extension save. As the subsequent corner dealt with. Suko. Ani. Looking for Bill Hart, who's still on the pitch at the moment. It's all up to the fourth official. 9 minutes of added time separate Lexington from that elusive league victory. A groan from the Lexington faithful. Renewed life for the kickers at home. Gomiro will replace Bill Hart now. A promising shift that was marked by a goal for Mr. Bill Hart. Gomiro was a regular in the 11 last year. Now getting his opportunity to be a hero tonight. A 27-year-old who ventured his way from the USL League Two ranks to a professional contract with Richmond last year. Has had his moments since becoming a kicker last season. Corner here for Richmond. It's a high arcing in-swinger towards Ani's head. Charged away. These next 8 minutes or so will feel like an eternity to Lexington fans. For Richmond fans, hoping for a miracle. Johnson into the area. Landon Johnson! He went near post and he drew a Mal Knight in action. He didn't quite have a great angle there, but it won his side a corner nonetheless. Good chance here for the 17-year-old. Gets on the inside of Mane. He goes near post. And it at least required Knight to get involved. Now the in-swinger. It came to Barnathan. Falls to Vinyals. And rushed away by Lexington. Now plenty of numbers on the counter. Mendez to Brown. Has Cano in support. Nico Brown! An excellent stop from Jara. End to end in stoppage time. Gomiro. O'Dwyer. Now Schenfeld. Desperately hunting the run of Terzaghi and unable to find him at that current moment. Simon Fitch. It's a low cross this time. An aerial onslaught from Richmond, one that has not yielded any fruit just yet. Brown winning it back. Just stumbling. It was Pierre Mane who ultimately popped it loose. Gomiro. Schenfeld, space to cross. Another decent delivery. Falls to Terzaghi. And just charged out of trouble by Uche. Gomiro. Working ball and right into the gloves of Knight. He's been busy, but he's passed every test so far. Modesto Mendez nursing a bit of a cramp. You hear Darren Sawatsky in the background urging his side to press. Will be full out for the next 5 minutes for Richmond. Mendez seems content to continue. Has put forth a solid performance in the heart of defense tonight. Take another look at the Knight save that kept Lexington in front. Really good looking free kick for Vinyals. It may have crept into that near post had Knight not gotten into action. It's one for the cameras. Meanwhile, on the other side, Nico Brown had a chance to kill the match off. He was able to wiggle free from Landon Johnson, and Jara ultimately making a solid save off his line. So major chances either way, one to level it, one to put it to bed, neither bearing fruit. The physios are finally off the pitch. Mendez has been ruled good to continue. The clock continuing to tick as a precious minute has been milked. Nico Brown is waiting to re-enter as well. What a presence he's been these last 15 minutes or so. A counter-attacking fiend. And nearly had the crucial goal to kill the match off. Finally resumed after a minute and a half. Comes off of the clock. You'd figure we're going beyond 99 at this stage. Schenfeld. Gomiro. Waiting support. And finds it in the form of O'Dwyer. It's a loose pass to Fitch. And now into Brown's feet, who keeps it in play masterfully. Outwitting a series of Richmond defenders as he'll wisely await the run of Mane. Johnson is the 17-year-old in line to be the hero. Not that time. Kalen Fox will replace Nico Brown, who should earn acclaim from the fans for his performance tonight. A defensive-minded change, though, as a proper center back will replace Nico Brown, and that suggests the potential of a four-back with Corrales moving back to fullback. Solid performance from the former Maryland Bobcats man, who has slowly worked his way back into the lineup and playing out of his natural position, putting forth a lovely shift at left wing back. Kalen Fox, the University of Kentucky graduate, who has made his name in Lexington's footballing circles for quite some time, hoping to shore this up for the hosts. Lancaster. Cano. Bundled over, no whistle from the official. A heavy touch from Vinyals. A minute and a half left of stoppage time, although given the minute and a half we lost due to injury stoppages, we should go well beyond 100. Liotti is shrugged down by Suko and wins his side as free kick. Final minute of the added 9. Liotti gingerly to his feet. A workman-like performance, a number 9's performance for him tonight. Lancaster to deliver. Tries it from afar, and well, it wasn't too far off. He had Jara at least half asleep there. Time slowly running thin for Richmond at this stage. We are now in the 100th minute. Beyond the added 9, likely going to 100 or 101 tonight. Long throw. It falls for Johnson. Not able to trouble Knight. Johnson's made an impact since entering the fray. Had space to uncork this. Didn't quite get his foot over it enough. We have hit the century mark here at Toyota Stadium. Time slowly ticking away from Richmond. Suko. Perhaps one or two more chances for the kickers. Will the Henny Derby magic return? It was the 101st minute where they found the winner. They will not have a chance here. The final whistle sounds here from Georgetown, and Lexington SC's won its first league match since March 15th. Ates Diouf with the 48th minute winner, and that man Azad Liadi opening the scoring as well, as Lexington earns a much needed 3 points to put themselves back into the postseason hunt. The Railbirds rejoice here from Toyota Stadium. It ends Lexington 2, Richmond 1, as the post-Henny Derby woes continue for the visitors. The hosts earn a hard-fought 2-1 win. We will step aside here from Georgetown when we return a look at the 100 minutes that just transpired.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up?
Keep the rhythm going.
Or get up?
Perfect.
Who's not a runner now?
You don't have to be an elite athlete to be treated like one. UK Healthcare, Orthopedic Surgery, and Sports Medicine. The power of advanced medicine.
We're back here from Lexington, where Lexington SC has just notched its first league victory since mid-March, and here's how it unfolded. We pick it up in the 40th minute. Azad Liadi, his first goal since mid-April. A workman-like finish, an athletic finish, in which he outwits his defender. Despite being tugged at by Dakota Barnathan, doesn't matter. Gives Lexington the lead heading into halftime. But Richmond would respond immediately after the restart. Less than a minute after the restart at that. Ryan Sierakowski flashing down the left flank. A great cross that finds its way properly to Adrian Billhart, bashing it into the top right corner. And we thought we had ourselves a knockdown, drag-it-out fight at this point. After Billhart placed that terrifically, no chance for Amal Knight as he was still coping with the chaos in front of him in the box. But just 2 minutes later, immediately after the match restarted following the goal, Nico Brown surging down the left side. Free header for Ates Diouf. You won't get many cleaner looks than that, and he creates the heroic winner just 2 minutes after Lexington conceded the equalizer. That allowed LSC to wrap up a key 3 points. There were some late chances. This free kick was the closest Richmond got to an equalizer. Fantastic full extension stop from Amal Knight to lock down a much-needed 3 points for Lexington. That's where it finishes after 90 minutes and stoppage time. A 2-1 victory for Lexington in their first league win since mid-March. The Kickers falling once again on the road. For Sam Goldfarb and our terrific USL League One crew, we say goodnight from Georgetown, where Lexington secures the much-needed 2-1 victory.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.